Can you believe the idea that love created you exactly as it is, divine, pure, and perfect, that you are already whole? That is what today's topic on Rewired is all about. Welcome to day 67. I'm Jamie O'Connor, and this is your lesson for today. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time that I'm going to be speaking to a big potential revelation, especially if you have grown up in Western culture, and especially if you have grown up in any kind of significant Christian or Catholic upbringing. So if that makes you very uncomfortable or not an area you want to go to, consider this your warning. But I encourage you to stay open-minded. I encourage you to listen and feel what shows up in your body as you listen to today's lesson, and join me in coming to the conclusion that love created you exactly as you are, perfect, whole, pure, and divine. Let's do this. Can you accept that love created you exactly as it is? Pure, divine, simple truth. How does it feel to let the idea, the statement, land inside your body? Love created me like itself. This is, by its very nature, one of the most absolute truths of our very existence. You were born whole, perfect, divine, and exactly as you were meant to be. And yet, we spend almost our entire lives coming back to recognizing this truth about ourselves. What a wild journey this life is, to experience absolute wholeness the moment we arrive. And for that knowing and that belief to leave our conscious mind and have to come back to it through many, many lessons over an entire lifetime. What an interesting experience we are having as one that is God. There's many ideas out there that believe that we are just each actually one version of God experiencing what it would be to be life on earth. Whether you believe that or not, it's just one way to look at this same idea. It is what most of the Eastern philosophies come to. This idea that you are born whole and complete. And the way that society is and believes and shows you strips away that wholeness so that you can come back to it over your lifetime. The reality is, the vast majority of people who may be attracted to my work do not come from that background. And in fact, one of the reasons today's lessons can be very difficult to come to for those of us who have been brought up in a Western Judeo-culture world is that it is the exact opposite of the way that the majority of our religion, whether you were deeply in it growing up or not, taught us to believe. Now, I came to realize this not too long ago myself. It didn't land in me until a very real, very, I think, normal these days dilemma that we were having within our family. And this experience and this conversation that I'm about to share with you is exactly why I came to understand why this is such a hard truth for many of us to believe, to truly embody, to know that even though we may not like feel it in every moment, that we know there is a core essence truth to it, that there's layers on top of it. So what happened was that we had our first son, and we both came from Irish Catholic families. However, I was of a generation separated from going to church regularly. We were one of those families that went because of holidays or because grandma was in town, but otherwise didn't really go to church. I also went through my own religious and spiritual experience at 10. That's a story for another day, but it led me to refusing to be confirmed. So now, as I tell you this story, please keep an open mind. Whatever your religious affiliations are, whatever your background is, try to take a step back no matter what and hear the reason why this landed for me. Now, I have taken, as you know, if you've been here with me for the last 66 days before now, a fairly non-dogmatic approach to my spiritual experience. I am deep with earth wisdom and a belief that we are all nature and that God is among us in many ways. And I'm very open to anyone in whatever way their spiritual needs serve them. So for me, we were hearing the question over and over if we were going to baptize our son. Now, I was baptized Catholic. My husband was not only baptized Catholic, but he went through school all the way through college to Catholic Jesuit schools. And we were not going to. We had made a decision together to not baptize, but the question kept coming up. We lost my husband's father years before, and the church was very important to him. Brought up to my husband, if it really means a lot to your mom, then I'm open to it. And interestingly, his response is what changed everything for me. And it was from his many, many, many years of being educated in Catholicism that it was a background that I didn't have. And his response was, I will never baptize my son, because the entire reason that they baptize is they are washing away the original sin. And my child was born perfect and whole. He was not born with any sin. And that moment made this land. It made me realize why we are so hard to believe that we are whole and perfect as we are. Because we have been taught for thousands of years now, whether you grew up around it or not, the majority of colonization is that of Christian work. And we have been indoctrinated to believe that we were born in the original sin and that we need to be washed of it. Now, that is a huge revelation. And for some of you, it's going to be like dropping a bomb. And that may mean that you are not going to continue, and that's okay. What I would encourage anyone who is very uncomfortable with kind of this recognition is to know and love and go back to all of the lessons that we have done so far and remember that this is all part of the journey. That every single thing that you have had and believed up till now, every part of it matters and is important. And We are opening up to see in new ways. We are opening up to recognize that there are other ways of seeing and seeing ourselves that will bring us back to knowing our whole self, to believing the lesson of today that I am created as love is, that love created me as itself, pure, divine, perfect. This understanding is why God has appointed you and all of us as the channel for peace and forgiveness, because you are perfect exactly as you are. And this revelation, if it is that for you, is one that helps you recognize, it helps you see, because as we've talked about before with the yin and yang, you can't fully know and see until you have experienced the other side. You can't know what it means to know you are whole and perfect as you are without questioning it from the other side. So it's a gift to have been separated from this idea for so long. So in your longer purposeful meditation today, we will think about this idea and its reality and the fact that it is wholly unchanged and unchangeable in its nature, that it is already true. You'll begin by going through your breath work, taking those moments to ground and center into yourself, and starting to repeat the phrase, love created me as itself. Love created me as itself. And you can go on to add any versions that support you in your personal experience, the programming you are going through. You can use things like kindness created me kind, helpfulness created me helpful, perfection created me perfect, patience created me patient. One of the things we're doing today is to undo any former definition of God that you may have and replace it with this divine truth. We are emphasizing truly that you are one of God and God is you. And this is different for some people. And this is how we feel true wholeness. This is the lessons of the mystics and the Gnostics. If you've read any of the scripture that was removed from the current Bible, those that were found, scriptures separate that are in the Gnostic Gospels, this is what it speaks of. The true and divine you that is not needing of any other power to show you that or speak to God. You might find it necessary to repeat this idea many times today. I would recommend going on beyond your typical practice of a few times today and trying to repeat it to yourself many times an hour if possible. To support you in that, I have created a phone wallpaper. I have attached it to the email that is a part of the Rewired course. And I have also included a Canva link to edit it for yourself. Now, if you're not in Rewired and getting those emails, you can, of course, join at inspiredfocus.co/rewired and get those kinds of supporting materials along with other resources along with this journey. Try to remember in your shorter practice periods today, and even in your longer one, that this is not your tiny, solitary voice that is telling you this. This is the voice of God, the voice of higher self, the voice of source, universe, whatever the word is that you are using that feels the closest to you, to truth. This is the divine speaking to you when you say this to yourself. This is a big day. So I want to thank you for showing up, for your devotion, for your dedication, and remembering that you are whole and perfect exactly as you are. So this is Rewired. This is 365 days of daily practices for the spiritually curious high achiever. I'm Jamie O'Connor. And if you're interested in joining, again, go to inspiredfocus.co/rewired. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I am deeply appreciative, and I will see you back here tomorrow for day 68.